there's a body type that almost never loses weight. It doesn't care how strict your diet is, how perfect your training looks, or how much discipline you bring to the table. The harder you push, the harder it fights back. You drop calories, and the metabolism quietly slows. You increase cardio, and the body adapts before the sweat even dries. It's not sabotage, it's survival. That's what makes the endomorph different. A body that wasn't designed for the world we live in now, but for the one our ancestors barely survived. Long before gyms and macros, this body kept humans alive when food ran out. It stored fat, fast, burned, slow, and refused to waste energy on anything unnecessary. Back then, that was genius biology. Now, it's a daily war. Every time you diet, that ancient code wakes up. It doesn't see a modern plan or a fitness goal. It sees famine. It responds the only way it knows how, by conserving fuel, hoarding fat, and doing everything possible to keep you alive, even if that means keeping you overweight. That's why you can train with someone who eats worse than you, works out half as hard, and still gets leaner while you stay stuck. Their body plays offense, yours plays defense. The difference isn't discipline. It's the engine underneath. There are three main engines the human body runs on. The ectomorph burns hot and fast. It's the sports car that can't hold fuel. The mesomorph runs balanced, steady acceleration, steady response, the ideal middle ground. And then there's the endomorph, the tank. Built to survive, built to protect, built to last longer than anyone else when the world falls apart. But that same strength becomes your biggest weakness when food is everywhere and survival no longer depends on storing fat. The body that once saved lives now slows them down. When you try to diet like an ectomorph or train like a mesomorph, the endomorph body doesn't follow. It resists. Drop your calories too low and the thyroid starts to downshift. Train too long and cortisol spikes, holding fat in place. The body reads every extreme as danger, and danger activates storage. That's why quick fix plans hit you like a trap. They might work for a few weeks, then suddenly nothing. The scale freezes. Energy crashes, hunger spikes. Your metabolism didn't quit, it adapted. It learned your pattern and locked the doors. It's like arguing with a computer that keeps rewriting its own code to protect itself. You can't beat it by force. You have to rewrite the input. The real problem is that no one tells you this. Trainers, nutritionists, online gurus, they keep repeating the same recycled line. Eat less, move more. They talk like the human body is a math equation, but it isn't. It's an ecosystem. And an endomorph's ecosystem plays by a different rule book. You can't starve a body that was built to endure starvation. You have to make it feel safe enough to release what it's been holding. That's the part no one teaches. How to make your biology trust you again. Because until that happens, your body will protect fat the same way it protects your organs, fiercely and without apology. So how do you make it trust you? By proving that it's not starving, by feeding with strategy instead of fear. Protein becomes the building block, not the punishment. Carbs stop being the enemy and become controlled ammunition, timed and precise. Strength training turns into negotiation. Build lean muscle so the metabolism stops collapsing under pressure. Sleep, hydration, recovery, those aren't luxuries. They're commands that tell your body it's safe. Safe enough to finally burn what it's been guarding. I learned this the hard way. I used to think my body hated me. I did everything the experts said. Long fasts, hours of cardio, endless low-fat meals, and nothing worked. I'd lose a few pounds, then gain back more, over and over. It wasn't until I understood my type that everything clicked. I stopped fighting the symptoms and started working with the system. Once that happened, the war felt different. Still hard, but winnable. And that's the part most people never reach. They give up before they see the shift. Because no one told them the truth. You can't out-discipline biology, but you can't outsmart it. Every rule that works against you can be flipped if you understand the code. You no longer burn yourself out with hours of cardio. You lift to build an engine that runs hotter even when you rest. You stop starving yourself. You eat to teach your body that it's safe to burn again. You stop chasing numbers on a screen and start chasing how your system responds. Because once you shift the focus from punishment to precision, fat loss stops being war. It becomes strategy. Endomorphs don't need shortcuts. They need structure. A structure that matches the machine they live in. Training built around resistance, not exhaustion. Nutrition that prioritizes stability over extremes. The goal isn't to crash your metabolism, it's to rebuild it. That's why the people who finally win this battle are never the ones doing the most. They're the ones doing it right. They understand that the game isn't about effort, it's about leverage. The biggest lie you've been sold is that more effort always equals more progress. For an endomorph, that's exactly what keeps you stuck. Because this body type doesn't reward desperation. It punishes it. You push too hard, it shuts down. You rest strategically, it speeds up. That's why balance isn't weakness. It's weaponry. This isn't about going easy. It's about going smart. About knowing when to push, when to recover, and when to let the system catch up. And when that system finally does catch up, it's unstoppable. The same body that refused to burn fat starts burning through calories like a machine. The same metabolism that once fought you now fights for you. That's what happens when you stop waging war against yourself and start commanding the engine you were born with. That's exactly how I turned my life around. I was stuck at 300 pounds for years, trapped inside the same cycle. Restriction, rebound, failure, shame. Every time I started over, I thought I was just weak. But weakness wasn't the problem. Ignorance was. The moment I stopped copying what worked for other people and built a plan for my body type, everything changed. I started training differently, eating differently, thinking differently, and for the first time, the weight didn't come back. It stayed off because the strategy matched the system. I'm not a fitness coach. I'm just a guy who lived in the kind of body that never loses weight and figured out how to make it finally let go. That's why I built a free guide breaking down the 7 steps that got me out of obesity. I got tired of hearing empty advice from people who never lived in this body. What I wish someone had given me years ago, a simple roadmap made for bodies like ours. The link's in the description. Take it and test it. I made it because no one ever spoke our language, and someone has to. But more important than the guide is what comes after. Understanding that this is your war, and you don't have to fight it blind anymore. Because the truth is, you were never meant to lose. You were meant to endure. Your body was built to outlast famine, to survive chaos, to store an energy for the long game. That's not a flaw. It's proof of strength. You just have to teach that strength a new purpose. So stop trying to erase who you are. Start mastering it, learn the code, respect the engine, and use it to win differently. Because this body, the one that holds fat tighter than it should, that fights every deficit, that frustrates you every single day, this body isn't your enemy, it's your weapon. You just haven't been trained to use it yet. The body type that never seems to lose weight can, after all. It just needs the right approach.